Hello everyone, welcome to A Foreigner Farming in the Philippines. You know, I had real questions in my mind last night whether or not to make the video on the Dimwit. Because in throwing him under the bus, it would be throwing the mechanic shop under the bus as well. And I made the rationalization. I didn't put it in in the original video, but I made the rationalization that, you know, in my experience with businesses that this happens to, look, it's not an incredibly common practice, but it's not that it's unheard of either. Businesses will sometimes offer work for a lesser price if there's no receipt involved. And usually what happens when the government gets involved with that is that they'll get a warning, pay a little bit of a fine, and they're usually given 2 or 3, it's like 3 strikes you're out. It usually won't be closed down on the first offense. So that was the rationalization that I used about making that video last night. I could care less what happened to Jeff. Having the ATO after him is the least of his problems. But now he did a response video, and you know, it just goes to show you that some people, like I said, Dimwit, you should have made one more apology video and then just shut your channel down. And here's why. So he comes up with this cockamamie story that he had to run off somewhere with his wife and go get some fish, and that's why he didn't make a response video at 5 a.m. like he normally would, right? What he really did was go down in a panic and get a receipt made at the auto shop. And because funnily enough, that receipt is dated today. And I thought he had that work done a couple days ago, so you would think that the receipt would have been dated a couple days ago, right? But I digress. It just goes to show that when you're in the mental state of degradation that the Dimwit is, you know, I just didn't pick that name out of thin air. Dimwit is a factual representation of the state of this guy's mind and his mental faculties. And this is a shining example. Now, for the Dimwit minions, who are obviously just as stupid as he is, you might want to get your calculator, because this is going to involve some math. And you're going to have to muster together, gather up your brain cells, and actually think a little bit. So, in his live stream, he had said that it would be $1,000 no receipt. He forgot to mention that part in his response video. But in his response video, I said, oh, now here's the receipt. It was $1,000. Here's the tax for $1,100. Everything's all good, right? But neither he nor the mechanic are smart enough to do basic math, because he states in his response video that the cost of whatever part that it was $860, and the labor was $240. That's $1,100, not $1,000. So the receipt should have been itemized, all of it, $860 for parts, $240 for labor, and $110 because the ATO tax is 10%, and $110 for tax, which would be $1,220, or $1,210. I'm sorry, it'd be $1,210. Should have been the total bill. Now, if he'd wanted the bill to read 1,000, like what he had said, then he'd have to make it 900 and $10 or whatever, and then the $91 added for the tax would have made it $1,001. There's really no way that he could have made it up to where the bill would have been $1,000. So he ran down thinking, oh well, I told everyone that I was going to pay $1,000, but I've got to add this tax to it, so we need to make it $1,100. Yeah. Make the receipt for $1,100. Except he's so stupid that he can't add 860 and 240 together, which is $1,100. Don't know what to tell you. Stupid is as stupid does. So now, and this is why I'm actually a bit sorry now that I made the first video dropping a dime on him, and that I actually did drop the dime on him, because now, because you can't keep your mouth shut about anything. That's why you got ran out of the Philippines. And now you've got a train coming down the tracks at you because you just can't keep your mouth shut. And now, in this last instance, because you were trying to cover your tracks, instead of trying to keep your mouth shut, which is what you should have been doing, now added to tax evasion, we can stamp an additional charge of fraud on top of that. You think the ATO isn't going to figure out that you've been fast and loose with your receipt? This is what they do for a living. This is what they do for a living. Now, it's a small amount, and that's why I wasn't even thinking that the ATO would even pay much attention to it. But now, because you've gone and added fraud by making a fraudulent receipt, well, I don't think they'll be forgetting about it now. And I'd be careful. I'd be saving up that money for an attorney in Australia, because I think you're going to be needing it there. It just goes to show you that you really, really should just shut down and go away and be quiet, because all you've done in the last year is make an absolute and complete fool out of yourself on the internet. And now, Mr. Dimwit, you just can't stop. And now you're doing criminal activity on the internet, on YouTube, all because you just can't help yourself. Give it some thought there, Dimwit. So I hope that the mechanic shop doesn't get caught up in a fraud case when it was just a simple, they just tried to make a customer happy and get a job and do some work with a Corey-put old fool that didn't want to pay the going rate. I hope that they haven't. I hope that they don't suffer unduly because of the Dimwit. But it is what it is. So I had said I'd probably be going dark on the Dimwit, but I just couldn't resist. I just couldn't resist. And I wanted to publicly state that I'm sorry if anything really bad happens to the mechanic shop, because that wasn't my real intention. My intention in making the first video was just to highlight the hypocrisy and the criminality of the Dimwit. I hope whatever mechanic shop that is sees this video and knows that it wasn't my intention for you guys to hit the jackpot with ATO. I'm going to make this little addition here because I was rewatching the video that I made in order to edit it, and I would like to further say that you know what, the dimwit is just making it worse and worse for himself by the day. And those of you who are his family, I would urge you, who knows if you'll see this video or not, but if you do, and you're aware of what is going on, you're aware of what he's been doing, as an example, like the nephew that he was texting back and forth to in one of his live streams, saying that he didn't want to get involved in his effing vendetta. So I would assume that that nephew kind of knows what's going on. So if that nephew knows what's going on, then maybe other members of the Dimwit's family knows what's going on and could intervene somehow, possibly rein him in and get him the help that he needs. Because it's getting to the point now where it's going to start costing his estate money. You know, it's not only that your inheritance is going to be disappearing forthwith if he continues, but you know, if you care about him and you don't want to see him in jail, or well, if you don't want to see him in court battles and you don't want to see him in jail, which eventually could happen, just approach him however you want to do it, and just advise. You know, all you can do is just advise him and just tell him, pack it in for his own good. Pack it in. Take the L like a man and just pack it in, because it's just damaging. He's already damaged his reputation. I don't think there's any recovery from that. But on the legal and financial side of it, there could be a little bit of pumping the brakes involved. It's not going to be cost-free or penalty-free in any scenario, but it could be lessened moving forward, because look, he's losing it. He's losing it. He's already lost it, and he's by his actions, I think he's proven that he's a danger to himself, and possibly a danger to others, including me, by threatening my life. So just this little addendum here on the end, bonus reel, whatever you want to call it, especially his family members. His little internet friends, you know, they're not really friends. They're just as crazy as he is, just egging him on. But my plea is to his family members. Whether you care about him or only care about whatever inheritance you might get, whatever it is, if you have concerns, I would address those concerns to him. So now I'll end this one up. Thank you, everyone. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.